Thank you, folks. We appreciate that. Thank you for allowing us to start just a few minutes later this evening, as we have a good deal to cover, but that's fine. Madam Clerk, if you call us back in again.
Councilmember Jimmy Clanton.
Here.
Councilmember Rob Turner. Here. Councilmember Jasmine Cobble. Here. Councilmember George Turner.
Here.
Councilmember Diana Doma. Here. Mayor Jason Leary.
Here.
Thank
you. Today, folks, we have a very special guest as we try to bring in our council meetings with as much God as we can. Our invocation today will be Dr. Nelson V. Hare of Rock Springs Church of Christ. And before he springs it on you, yes, I can hit his church from my house with a rock. And we all stand. Good, Pastor.
If you would bow with me. To the Lord God Almighty, we ask your blessings on the men and the women who have been called to lead the community in which we live, work, and play. Help them, dear God, as leaders to ask the right questions. Help them, dear God, as leaders to determine what we need to learn. And then again, help them, dear God, as leaders to understand how we need to change. Grant them and us the wisdom and courage to know and to do what is right, what is good, and what is true. May we listen patiently and receptively to the issues at hand. May they and we always be guided by the spirit of community and by the spirit of justice and by the spirit of love. This we pray in the name of God Almighty and all that we hold sacred and holy. All these prayers we extend in our Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. First Lady, appreciate that. Excellent, excellent. All right. We're going to move to Did I touch it? Did I touch it? We're going to move to our approval of the council agenda. Council, if you peruse the agenda, and if I have any additional changes, now would be the time.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
there were two items that we didn't get to on the work session, and one of them is the DeKalb County Mass Transit Planning Resolution, municipality transit planning alignment with countywide role and neighborhood action support. I'd like to add that for action.
Okay, we'll take that under new business. Number 3, and we'll call that transportation resolution.
And item number 6 that we didn't get to was modification of real estate settlement procedures to require executive session before final closing on real estate matters exceeding $25,000 for discussion only.
Okay, we'll have that for number 4 on the new business for real estate modification under discussion. Discussion only, be number 4 on the new business.
Is that for me?
Mayor, let's call this resolution mass transit so nobody gets confused.
Mass transit resolution? Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So that number 3 is mass transit resolution. And number 4 would be real estate modifications. Mr. Turner?
Yes.
All right, Councilman, yep. Yes, ma'am.
How many public hearings are we required to have for the comp plan?
Ask that again. How many?
How many public hearings are we required to have for the comp plan adoption? Just one? Oh, okay. I just want to make sure that we were having the public hearing and voting on the resolution in the same meeting. Okay.
Yes, actually we are. Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the added items from Councilman Turner. To add under new business, number 3 would be mass transit plan. And number 6, the modification of real estate settlements and procedures to be for discussion only as number 4 under new business.
Properly moved. Do I have a second? Second. Properly moved in second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Approval of the council meeting. Agenda is approved. We'll go to the minutes. Approval of the June 10th, 2019 City Council meeting minutes. Yes, sir. No. Did we have somebody? I apologize. Only you don't have the. No, seriously. Everybody else have awards and honors? Yeah. Is it on, missing? Or- Joe, no, yeah. Oh, good deal, good deal. I know he's, yeah, yeah, we did, all right, folks, I'll give you a minute to peruse the minutes from the June 10th, 2019 meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I have one addition.
Okay,
Do I have the floor?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just want to add, and this is for the clerk, just for the record, the discussion about my request to abrogate or revoke the Finance or Budget Committee, bring it up to standards in accordance with the governing charter. Just need to have that added.
Madam Clerk, what do you have so far?
She sent me that in an email, but you want to just leave it that the discussion was about abrogating or bringing the finance committee up to standards?
Yes, that's pretty much all, just so that the reader will have an understanding of what that, I think you did put in there that there was a robust conversation, but we just need to add for the citizens what the conversation was about so they don't have to listen to a 3-hour video. And I did, if you look at the charter on line 11, 34, and 35, page 33, there are committee guidelines. And also the committees are subject to the same Georgia sunshine laws under 5014-1, little a, number 1 and 3. So I think because of that, these are notes about compliance with specific legal procedures, and it has to be added by Georgia state law.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman. I don't know what law you're quoting or out of the charter, but all we're dealing with at this moment is, are our records correct for our minutes? So I'm going to ask the clerk, are records correct for the minutes that you took?
I didn't put in the detail of what was said because it would have been I didn't want to implement what was one feeling versus another feeling. So I put after much discussion because it was on the build out of the city hall.
Correct.
And it went off subject to finance committees and budget committees. And that wasn't really, there was never a motion made. And I only record what actions are taken.
That's what we're going to stay with.
Point of order. In the Georgia OCGA 50-14-1, letter E, 1 and 2, it's not optional for this council to make that call.
So having said that, I'm going to move that the minutes be approved as submitted by the city clerk. Do I have a second?
Point of order. Mr. Mayor.
I've heard your point of order, Councilwoman. And you've repeated, you've told me what your point of order is. Now, there's something different than what you are going to just say, what you just mentioned, I'm going to move that the minutes be approved the way they were recorded by the clerk. Properly moved in second.
Is it for discussion?
Any further discussion?
Yes. City Attorney, under OCGA 50-14-1, where it says right here, and I took this right out of the law and out of the GMA handbook, any notes about whether, it didn't say whether they were, whether you got to go back and make everything factual. It just says any notes about complying with specific legal procedures. These are the things here. Here's a list of what must go in the legal minutes. And Mr. Attorney, I'm reading this from the Georgia law. And this is from GMA under best practice. And they actually quote the law. Here are the things that must go in the minutes: the day and time of the meeting, where the meeting is held, the type of meeting, the names of any members present at the meeting, including elected officials and staff, anyone who arrives late for a meeting, a description of each motion or proposed resolution, the identity of anyone making or seconding the motion, and then any points of order or appeals, and any notes about complying with specific legal procedures, any recesses, and any council member who leaves the meeting early. All of these must be added to the minutes under the OCGA 5014-1.
Thank you for your comments, Councilwoman. Is there any further discussion from council? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, here's where we are. We are in the middle of passing and looking at some of the best times that we have here in Stonecrest. We're bringing on just this fantastic talent. We're moving forward with regards to paving our roads and getting our comprehensive plan and making sure that we're handling the citizens properly, listening to them, having meetings, going out to the neighborhoods. And the big piece of where we are today is the development of the cornerstone of the city, which is economic development. Having said that, we've been able to enhance that department with regards to an individual in person that's a brand builder, an individual that can build alliances across various segments, who's comfortable with international and diverse community, who has demonstrated his abilities to assess situations and develop strategies, strategies, across the board. These are the things that we need, that not only do we need now, we need them in the future. And I want to introduce this individual to council and the citizens that we have today, and I'd like for him to come forward because this is how we introduce our new folks here in Stonecrest. And Mr. Clarence Boone, if you come forward, please.
Megan, you get my motion in there? My motion?
Always a happy day for me when we can introduce superior qualified folks to add to the team that we have here at Stonecrest. I was advised to tell Mr. Hightower that he is a Kappa, not an Alpha. Okay, Kappa. Is that just a friendly fraternal jokes there, folks. All right, folks, we're going to move to the second part of our presentation abilities here, or portion. we're going to bring up a company that is looking to handle some business here in Stonecrest, and we wanted to have council and the general public and citizenry, of course, to get a chance to see the things that they want to bring and what we're looking at. Sir, if you want to come forward. Folks, there are a few times where I get introduced by people bigger and taller than I am. And Mr. Davis from Capital Resource Services, thank you, sir, for coming out, and I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you.
All right.
Be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Mark Davis, and I have a couple of companies. One is Interurban Solar, which is here in Atlanta. Our office is in East. And the other one is WDC Solar. So we've prepared a presentation for you guys, and I'm going to go through it. And so I'm going to talk about solar. Our parent company is located in Washington, D.C., and we not only install solar, but we train young men and women to install solar systems, be a part of one of the fastest growing industries in the country. We offer solar installation training classes at no cost. We just finished one in East Point. And the group that finished the class in East Point, I took them to D.C. and they worked right at a month up there getting hands-on experience. So we're working with a couple of municipalities in the area. We also work with Cherry Street Energy. They're local. They're in Atlanta. So what happens is that we can install a solar system at no cost to the city. We've done it in D.C. on schools, churches. We have a contract with district sustainability utility. We have contracts with the district office of energy and environment. We've been doing this since 2009, so we really know how to train young men and women, get them off the street. We employ a lot of veterans. We employ returning citizens. We get them trained, get them out, and we put them to work. And it not only works for us, but it works for you, because we're able to install solar on some of your buildings and significantly reduce your energy costs and your carbon footprint. We feel like moving forward, this is one of the safest ways to combat climate change. You pay nothing up front. We maintain the system, and we make sure that it's up and running all the time.
Mr. Davis, hold on one second.
That's our job.
So that everybody's on the same page and we're fair to the gentleman. Look back in, go frame by frame. Sir, would you like for him to be your framer, or you like to do it yourself?
I can do it myself.
There you go.
Good.
There you go. Go frame by frame. There you go, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good. So this is a group that we trained out of New York that you see on the picture here. This is a picture of me with one of our trainees, and this explains who I am. Former NBA player, turned solar installer.
That's good.
So many of you know Bernard King. He's a Hall of Famer. He and I have worked together on some solar projects in the past. Bernard is a very good guy. Another thing that we did was when I first started this company, we worked with the DC Office of Sustainability to create a program where we could install solar on low-income family homes at no cost. To date, we've installed over 500 systems, and these systems save low-income families money. So our mission statement is to create livable wage-paying jobs for local electricians, roofers, and solar technicians, engineers also. And to help families save money on their electric bills. And we have been doing this since 2009. So I want to move through some of our projects very quickly. This is a housing project at Kenilworth. They wanted new windows. We put a new solar system in, saved them enough money on their electric bills so that they're able to install the windows at this particular housing project. And we've done several housing projects we're in the process of doing now. Southeast Veterans Center, this is one of our projects. Fort Lincoln, this is the project that we're doing for DC Housing Authority. So we have 3 projects that we're doing for them right now. This is one of them. Fort Lincoln, Elvins Road is another one, and Terrace is another one. So here in the state of Georgia, we're able to execute what's called a Solar Energy Procurement Agreement, a CEP. So we work with Cherry Street Energy, as I said here, and they were the first company in the state of Georgia to execute a CEP. And since then, they have a contract with the city of Atlanta to install. And we are also helping them make that 35% minority participation goal that they're looking for. Great group of guys over there we enjoy. We just got back from Jekyll Island where we did some operation and maintenance work on one of their systems. So, and yeah, that's how it worked. Basically, you sign an agreement with Cherry Street. Cherry Street will bill you for the energy that the solar system produces. That energy usually comes at about half of what you're paying. It's a great bill. Proposed benefit, there's no upfront investment. That's the first thing. We use the tax credits and other incentives to get the system installed at no cost to the city. We can give you a breakdown as to exactly how much you're going to save once we have the ability to take a look at your electric bill. So we take your electric bill, give them to the analysts, and they'll go through and run the numbers and tell you how much you save over the lifespan. So we did get a couple of addresses of the schools, and these are schools. And this is just the scope of size systems that we can install on these locations. So in 2015, Green for All, which is Van Jones Group, named me a climate change champion, which was pretty special. We received a lot of awards. Been on, CNN Money, and this is the most important one. Invited by
that's good.
Invited by the president. I actually worked with the president and his clean power, his team on his clean power plan for 2 years. He had invited me to sit in the booth with his wife at his final State of the Union. So we've had a lot of people who are very interested in what we're doing and what we're doing in the community. And we will continue to do that here. So I just wanted to be brief, but let you guys know that we're very interested in coming in, talking about how to help reduce your carbon footprint and also lower your energy.
Okay, so a couple of questions for you. I'll start and then I'll pass it to council.
Yes.
You caught my attention when you said no charge. How does a no charge work?
So we use the tax credits and other incentives to buy down the cost of the system. And you're also paying for the energy that. So we're able to do that and install the solar system without charging you anything. And we do that, and just to show you how important the incentives are, in DC, we don't charge for energy, we give the energy away. So if I install solar on your schools in DC, you'll have that energy free. Because we have what's called the S-rate market, and that is so good that we install solar at no cost, then here we will have to charge you for the energy, because Georgia does not have an S-rate market. S-rate, solar renewable energy credits. So you get credit for how much green energy you produce. Yes,
So Georgia does not have that?
Georgia does not.
And give me
That's
that,
why we have
give me the
to charge.
acronym again.
SREC, solar renewable energy credit.
Council.
I mean, I watched your presentation, and I didn't see a lot about single-family housing. You do anything in that category?
So we do not here. We do not have the incentives available to install solar on low-income family homes at no cost. The district government gave us $7,500 a home to install solar, so it was easy for us to get an investor to put up the rest of the funds so that we could get that, let's say, $15,000 system installed at no cost to the residents, because we own the SREC and the tax credits. And that allows us to buy down that system, give it to a low-income family at no cost. And we just won another contract from the district to do 60 more homes, it is, which is good.
Okay.
Yes, question, who pays for the installation of the equipment on the buildings?
The individual's financing, which in this case it will be Cherry. Large money, they go out. They act.
So the entity would have to own the building, if you will. It would have to, be, let's say, for instance, if it's a schoolhouse, it'd be school board. If it's a city building, it'd be the city. If it's a church, could it be a church?
Yes. Yes.
All righty then. Okay.
We have a lot of churches and a lot of pastors. So,
I'm sorry, Councilman, I interrupted you.
No, you're good.
Can you give me a little deeper, not much, but just a little deeper, how Cherry Street, map that mentally out for me. Cherry Street, your organization, the city.
okay, so Michael Channon, who's from Macon, Georgia, started Cherry Street. Basically got investors together, and the investors came in, put money up, and they get a 30% tax credit for every dollar they spend. So they'll get their money back. That incentive, any other incentive they have. My company, Interurban Solar, I'm from Lappaw, Georgia, by the way, down south of Augusta. So
Near Lulawicca.
kinda like coming back home.
Near Lulawicca.
Alapaha,
Okay.
between Tilton and Waycross.
I know
Okay.
where it is.
All right.
So
All right. So I'm from Macon, so the other guy can't be half bad.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Michael is a good guy. So they finance. So they have a contract with the city of Atlanta. They're installing solar on the city's buildings here. We're working with the city of South Fulton also. Try to, benefits of
Okay. Council.
I've got a question. So when Councilman Turner asked about residential homes, you specifically mentioned low-income homes. So I'm not sure that his question was directly related to low-income versus just residential in general.
Yep.
So I just want to take that I want to take that out. Let's just talk about residential, not based on economic status. How often or what is your ratio for installing or providing systems to our residential community versus the commercial community?
we can install residential, but it'll be on a cash basis.
Okay, so
Basically, we focus on commercial installations and low-income installations. We don't do too many residential cash markets. You have to have a very good incentive package for the system to pay back. over a given period of time. There's just not enough market there for us to get into that market.
So, you're making this presentation to the city council. What is your idea of what the council can do, or what are you requesting that we do to support this? So in the city of Stonecrest, the DeKalb County School District still owns, operates, and runs our school system. It means they own all the assets related to school buildings. City of Stonecrest has not yet purchased property, but obviously we will over time. So right now we can't help in that space. So I was just trying to figure out what space we can help in.
So I wasn't aware that you didn't own.
Well, not right now.
We don't own any of the school buildings, and we never will.
But
So I guess this is to warm you up to solar. Maybe
right,
that
because
happens.
we're not far off.
Right.
We're not far off.
No, we will most certainly own assets as a city. The school system is a totally different, and it looks like that's kind of where the bulk of your bang for your buck and your credit system is. But the school system will stay with the county for the foreseeable future unless the state legislature decides something different. So the city will own buildings and assets of its own, which obviously is still not comparable to the amount of buildings that the county school system owns.
That's fine. We're here, like I said, to introduce ourselves, let you know that we're here, ourselves available. Time comes, have us come back, and break on down.
What about parks? Will you have solar lighting and that particular thing?
We'd have to take a look at it
Yeah. Okay.
and check out the electric bills to see, make that work.
Because we do own parks. Shortly.
And with some
Real
of
shortly,
the
as a matter of fact.
real estate, we could take advantage of it and give you a lease payment every quarter for leasing that land, all the solar system on it. That solar system will feed back to the grid.
Oh, okay. Now you may have an idea. All right. So you stood there long enough until it came.
Yeah.
That's how you take the heat from God.
I'm sure about saying it long enough.
Not to interrupt you, sir, or council, but I thought you have a second part, or was this
Yeah,
it here?
this is what we're doing. I think there's some other guys with a second part, but yeah, this is
Good deal.
we're solar.
Excellent.
Strictly solar.
Excellent. Council,
Thank you very much for having
appreciate
me.
you, sir.
Appreciate your time.
All right, and we'll you and I follow up.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir. All right. All right, sir. For sure, for sure.
And it's, I did have a few hands up.
Yes,
One hand out, it's okay?
sir. That's good. No problem. No problem.
You can email me, and you can keep the hard copy. The millennial in me. The millennial in me. Send me the email. Send me the email.
It's just another quick introduction. We actually met with you around the beginning of Christmas. My partner and I, we met, we talked, and we brainstormed. Told you we'll be coming back, so we officially just wanted to make another introduction and bring back who we are. So we are Capital Resource Services, and we're in partner with Construction Development Services, and Construction Development Services is the builder that's a part of our conglomerate, if you will. So I gave a couple examples because what we want to bring to your attention is we've been talking back and forth about how we can bring our resources to the city a little better. The one thing about what we do, we have financing that's customizable. So we can finance probably up to a $500 million project. A couple of these are projects we're currently doing right now that we're 100% financing and we're 100% building out. So we have a lot of private money that backs us in the projects we do. The only thing we have to do is to find the project. We take it before our group. They like it. They get behind it. Don't need anything else but a green light to go forward with that particular project. We have two extremes. And I say extremes because they're very different. Our community live that we are currently working through in another city is more technology based, bringing a lot of more technology components. The second one is the Sycamore project we're doing, and that's a lot more economic and affordable housing mixed with a lot of retail that we're building out as well. Both projects, the Our Community Live is north of 40 million. The Sycamore project is probably going to end up around 130 million build out. Our builder, Chris, has 20 plus years building out, doing developments from scratch. So we have a lot of experience in that. So what we were wanting to do is to talk a little bit more with the city about how we can bring the resources more to specifically what you guys are looking for, because what we do is customizable. We're very fluid in how we can move. And part of what we want to do today is just to formally make that introduction and hopefully continue on with more in-depth conversations of how we can bring our resources to the city. And even work with Mark in terms of adding the solar components to anything that we're building out for the city.
This is timely, sir, because I'm going to introduce you to a couple of folks. One is conspicuously walking over here on the side. His name is Robert Scott. He's working on a couple of large piece projects for us.
Awesome.
That I like for you to have an introduction to. And there's another individual gentleman that you and I talked about earlier that has made things closer with regards to where he's going to start that type of development. So your timing is also good. And also my economic development director introduced earlier, Mr. Clarence Boone.
Yes.
Make sure you touch both of them before you leave.
All right.
But I want to open the floor to council so that they can, if they have any questions.
Wasn't meant to be confusing. It was only just meant to be a couple of different projects that we want to touch on that we were thinking that we can actually duplicate here. But again, for us, we're customizable. So once we talk through it, it's just a matter of us finding a common ground and agreeing, and we can move it forward. We don't need much.
Right. No, your timing is good. I'll also send it electronically to council,
Yes,
and then we'll start to
understood.
move from there.
As long as we start the dialogue, that's what we're looking for, and we can formally get whatever we need to do from that point.
Thank you, sir, and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Okay, council and audience, thank you very much for your patience. I think it's important when individuals want to come to Stonecrest and invest their money. We should hear about it. We should take a look at them, and you should take a look at them. So that's always going to be at the center of what we're doing. So from there, we'll move to our public comments. Madam Clerk.
Salim Damani. I'll move on.
Hold the name one more time, Madam Clerk.
Salim Damani. I'll call him again at the end.
Okay.
Joel Thibodeau.
Good evening. Joe Thibodeau, 5429 Savoy Chase Crossing. I came here to talk about summer and nuisances. Came up in the work session, but what did not come up in the work session over this past week was the incessant fireworks going off everywhere, all through the city, all times of night. The state of Georgia, in their infinite wisdom, legalized fireworks some years ago without putting in the proper regulation as far as who could buy what, or a number of other safety laws that they could have put in place. And who can buy what is important because nowadays, unlike in other states where I live where fireworks are legal, the average citizen can buy commercial grade fireworks at a regular outlet. And so during the day and during the night, you have extremely loud fireworks going off. And as I mentioned in a public comment I made online, this weekend sounded like 1983 Beirut at some times, because we have commercial grade fireworks that are meant to be shot off hundreds of yards into the air in open areas for commercial reasons or commercial presentations being set off in residential neighborhoods at any point in time. And I believe that that is a hazard to the health and safety of our citizens. Although the state has not done anything, I do believe that the city and the local county government has some leeway in order to pass ordinances under the nuisance ordinance as to regulating who can shoot off what kind of fireworks and where. And I would like to see our city council take up something along those lines prior to the next fireworks season, which will be coming up, I believe, in for New Year's, around New Year's. And so that's what I wanted to mention, that we saw a lot of activity on social media, local social media, Nextdoor and Facebook, people thinking that these are fireworks. At one point in time, we had neighbors out on the street with their pets and small children because everybody was excited and afraid in their homes that something serious was happening because of the level of fireworks. And so that's for fireworks. And I just wanted to touch briefly on the motorcycles and motorbikes. This is a serious issue. We're not talking about onesie-twosie people driving on scooters. There have been some nights on Covington Highway where I've seen dozens, packs of young people on these not street legal bikes with no headlights, causing serious issues for travelers and pedestrians. And I would really like our city government to take it up with the Cobb County Police and have it addressed. Thank you.
Mr. Thibodeau, what was the first ordinance? What was the,
Fireworks.
yeah, but you called the ordinance, you called something that somebody was doing something. You called it like an ordinance, or you called like it was already in place, or something we could look up?
No.
Okay, I misunderstood you, I'm sorry.
The nuisance ordinance?
Nuisance ordinance? Okay,
Yeah. We should have one, but we were talking about revising it in the work.
got it.
So, another.
Thank you, sir.
Davisha Johnson.
Good evening.
Ms. Johnson?
How are you all doing?
All right.
I have a handout.
Got to make it quick, 3 minutes.
So I just would like to introduce myself and thank the council for allowing me to have this public comment. My name is Davisha Johnson. I'm CEO of DL Johnson Consulting Agency. I'll just give you a quick 30-second rundown. I have experience in education and architecture. I started at Morris Brown College. I went on to Southern Polytechnic State University and studied architecture for 4 years. I did an additional 4 years at University of Houston in construction management, and I have a political science degree from Georgia State University, where I graduated in 2016. I started interning with the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. I have run 20 political campaigns and have a large network in the African community, being from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I grew up around a lot of African population. There's a large population here in Georgia, so I would like to just discuss with you an opportunity for me to come back and present 2 proposals that I've already presented to Councilman Rob Turner and Councilwoman Diana Doma in concerns with already implemented departments from economic development, business development, community cultural affairs, and communications in regards to the Film and Entertainment Commission. as well as creating an Office of African Affairs, seeing that the City of Stonecrest is on the I-20 corridor that leads directly to the Savannah ports. I think it's important during this year of return, marking 400 years of slavery, that we take advantage of our African neighbors in the City of Stonecrest, as well as in the state of Georgia, and the opportunity for revenue generation around these different departments that you already have. I have read through the comprehensive plan developed by the collaborative firm, and I believe that my firm, in addition to our affiliate partners, could fill in some gaps in supportive services, as well as the business development department, economic development department, community, cultural affairs, and communications. It currently have one person running an entire department of the 60,000 plus residents that you have. They need help. And I am here to offer my services for my firm to assist in all of these different areas. And like, as I said, I have a background in architecture and construction. So when we're talking about solar and who's going to pay for what, the city can also develop opportunities to have new construction have solar panels added as a tax incentive for people to buy new homes. So that I have a lot of different avenues that I have been afforded the opportunity to work with elected officials in running political campaigns. So I know what seats you all sit in and how you got there, and the opportunities for you to stay in those seats, and also to help your residents be able to, right. Right. And then also for your residents to be comfortable with the fact that you'll be held accountable being in these seats for their tax dollars when you're spending money for the city council. So I just wanted to say that, and I hope you give me the opportunity to come back and present to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Just talent flowing from Stonecrest. Flowing.
Ms. Faye Cofield?
When I was here last time, there were some accusations made that need to be cleared up. First of all, I was accused with feuding with my neighbor behind me. What you have as your first article is a criminal trespass warning that was served on him in May of 2018 because he was insistent upon putting his garbage in my yard. And if you flip the page, you will see a photograph that garbage was not just at the property line, but about 15 to 20 feet inside my property. And he was told, I've moved it repeatedly 4 times that particular day, and he continued to put it back. So the letter is self-explanatory, and I'll say that in all the years I've been on this earth, I've never had to reduce a criminal trespass warning to writing. So you have that. Second of all, I'm deeply concerned about this situation that's now developed with these trees, because I'm now being told that when I filled this complaint out on the 29th of August, which you have a copy of, that Stonecrest did not actually have code enforcement. But it remains unclear to me why they were handing out Stonecrest complaint forms. This form was filled out in the office, and it clearly shows the date and time that I came in and filled it out. I had been referred to you by DeKalb County. So now DeKalb County is going to take the complaint back, from what I understand, and they're going to start dealing with it. It's unclear to me how code enforcement could sit there for 2 years, and not know that they did not have the authority to investigate this and the other code enforcement issues that they investigated during this time period. It's just beyond belief that could happen. So I don't know what to tell you other than to say that the pictures speak for itself. One of you says that you took it over on October 1st. The other one says it was taken over on September 15th. I filed an open records request, and I asked for everything. I was told that everything was given to me, but if you look at one of the separate pages that is there, there were apparently pictures taken from Google Earth from 2016 to 2017. Those pictures were not provided, and they will show that this was a heavily wooded area. So I just don't understand how you can say that you have an effective code enforcement when they don't even know that they don't have the authority to investigate something. And if you look at the complaint, you will see that the complaint clearly states the time frame I'm talking about. And also, I found out my neighbors are not selling wire as they were accused of doing, that they are in fact contractors for one of the major cable companies. So it's a federal offense for them to sell wire. Thank you very much, and y'all have a good
Salim Damani.
Oh, okay. Mr. Farrell, if you don't mind, please, just see if he's standing outside, because I wouldn't want to miss him twice. And he misses opportunity to say something, and we want everybody to have their say. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
That's all the comments that I have.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're going to move to appointments. We have 3 council, actually one committee and 1 person to 2 committees. I think Mr. Boone is meeting with the possible opportunities outside. However, council, on appointments, number 1, the East Metro CID Steering Committee, and the number 2, which is the Development Authority. Those were the committees that Ms. Wright, Sabrina Wright, was sitting on as ex officio, and so Clarence Boone, who is now the Economic Development Director, will be sitting on those committees. So, Mr. City Manager, do you want them individual? You want them together, or how do you like to proceed? Okay. All right. Then with council approval, I'll make the motion that we place our new Economic Development Director on the East Metro CID Steering Committee.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All right. And then further discussion.
Just have a question.
Yes, sir.
If it's ex officio, does it have to be voted in?
Still have to be voted on, because even when we put the just members on period, we voted for that whole list of members, even Ms. Wright.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it covered.
That I want to make sure our processes are in line. All right. Any further discussion? All right. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right. Number 2, for the Development Authority, I move that Clarence Boone be on the Development Authority board as ex officio also. Do I have a second? All right. Properly moved in second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you, council. Number 3, the Stonecrest Overlay Steering Committee. Simply, folks, this is the reconstituting of the steering committee led by Councilman Clanton and Councilman Rob Turner. The members of the Overlay Steering Committee has been reduced some because of the folks that we have here that are either representing city council or representing their clients. We found it to be more efficient in this arena, and they also lead the different committees. Those committee members will be Councilman Clanton, Councilman Rob Turner, Attorney Michelle Battle, Ms. Jessica Wagner, Mr. Matt Hampton, Attorney Bernard Knight, Mr. Christopher